Hello, everyone. Richard here. I wanted to show my Warsaw replay, and I've uploaded this to YouTube, but I have it on private at the moment. I'll upload my commentary first, and then I'll upload the no commentary replay for those that just want to see it. But I found it would be easier to talk about what's happening if I freeze frame it, or try to freeze frame it in the replay, and then I can talk about all kinds of things. I can talk about who has tactics I've learned from other players. I could talk about things I discovered when attempting this map. I could even point out very obvious areas of improvement. There's probably stuff that Bracada and Soren could find looking at this playthrough to make it even better. Um, so, let's get this started. Let me get to the map here. Okay. So I have like 1,700, almost 1,800 prestige going to Warsaw. What happened here in this scenario? I watched Bracato's Manstein playthrough, and it was very good, and it was very well thought out. But it isn't good enough to get a decisive victory in ultimate mode. I don't have the option of going around and collecting artillery pieces. I don't even have the option, at least I don't think I do. I don't think I have the option to grab some of these extra victory objectives. You're going to see that I skip them. The other thing is he bought two pioneers on Manstein that were green, and I think it was a huge mistake. Now, if you watch Bracada's playthrough right now, he realized that isn't going to work on ultimate mode, so he bought pioneers fairly early. I think the first one he bought was Lods. And his idea is very simple. I'm going to build up the experience and get these bad boys ready to rumble at Warsaw. However, I am going to one-up Bracada, and I'm going to do something very clever. So if you watch my previous playthroughs, I was starting at Lods and really going crazy at the Weizograd scenario. I attack a lot with my infantry. Like I go pretty crazy sometimes with my infantry, taking some unwise attacks. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to get experience as rapidly as possible. And this field marshal effect is what I'm fighting. I need 2-star troops ready to tango by the time I get to Warsaw. And what I did is I got a mountain unit and I got a regular infantry to 2 stars. I immediately upgrade them to pioneers, and then I overstrengthen them. So I have 2-star overstrengthened pioneers ready to tango at Warsaw. And that is really, really powerful and very useful. One second. So, having Oladir at 2 stars, which I had to work very hard for. At Modlin, I had to work really hard with Oladir. So I have Oladir, who's overpowered, overstrengthened 2-star infantry unit, and then I've got 2 pioneers who are like basically the vertice of like a V shape, attacking your target, and those guys are just ripping through units. This map would be very, very difficult to do without experienced pioneers. So that's one of the obvious things I thought of. Actually, I take that back. That's not obvious. In fact, it's so not obvious Bracada didn't think of it. Because I think if Bracada had thought of it, he would have delayed. He never would have bought fresh pioneers. He just would have promoted his 2-star infantry units. Um, so I have a suspicion I'm going to have a slightly easier time with this map than when he tried it. But I don't know. Bracada's he's got these crazy ideas, and he comes up with things nobody else can come up with, so he might surprise us. But I'm proud of that. I thought that was very clever, and it fixes a lot of problems. I don't have to fight for my pioneers to get to 2 stars. I just promote infantry to pioneers. So that happened. The other thing is bringing level bombers, I got that from Bracata, and I might have thought of that myself, but you need to get your level bombers earlier so you can actually get them to 2 stars, because I don't know if you buy them at Modlin that's enough. So, you have overstrength and level bombers. So you have 3 level bombers on this map, and they're very useful. I didn't bring a tactical bomber. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, do I bring one less artillery piece and I bring a tactical bomber instead? My feeling is suppression is the name of the game on the Warsaw map, and the tactical bomber isn't very helpful. Bracata will probably deploy a tactical bomber. There are benefits to doing so. You're going to see I ran into a couple of issues because I didn't have a tactical bomber. However, I think those issues were ones I would rather deal with than not having the extra artillery unit. So that's something else. What else did I do? I did not bring a tank. So normally on Warsaw, I love bringing Kesha, but the reality is Kesha gets 4 or 5 moments over the entire Warsaw scenario to shine. And after that, like, he's just sitting there like a lump. And the problem with Kesha is he can't move after moving. So I brought a second scout. So this was my plan from the very beginning. This was something I had been thinking about for several nights. This is a very... If you watch my Ultimate Mode playthrough that I've just been posting compared to Bracata's, you'll notice I'm deploying 2 scout cars constantly. There's a reason I'm deploying 2 scout cars constantly. I want to get them experience, I want to get them kills, and 1939 is the year of the scout car. There is so much stuff that you can do with the scout car, and it's relatively safe. That's not going to be true in 1940. So I have 2 experienced scout cars coming to Warsaw, and I found them to be crucial, essential for accelerated destruction of the enemy. Kesha could not do that. Kesha is that he's like a hammer, or a rocket launcher. You use him once and he wipes out whatever's in front of him, but then he's committed, right? He's forward into enemy positions. He's going to be vulnerable. Some of these 7 TPs could certainly damage Kesha, who is less than 1 star. So that's a problem. With a scout, I can move him forward, seal an enemy unit, force a surrender, pull the scout car back, and proceed. So you're going to see some of that. So let us just let this run. And I have a second fighter. I have a 2-star fighter and a 1-star fighter. And I have a 1-star 88 gun. I could just do... Yeah, we can let some sound come through. My positioning is not exactly like Bracata's, but it's close enough. It's not that different. I was hoping to show a live play of Warsaw, but I found... Let me mention that. I was hoping to actually demonstrate a decisive victory at Warsaw. I wanted to try to do it without reloads, but here's the thing. I think it's possible, but the number of things you have to memorize, it's basically too much. Like, I had finally gotten to a good place by turn 3, but I probably had to memorize, like, 30 facts about positioning to be satisfied with where I was on turn 3. And I wasn't sure it was sufficiently strong enough for the decisive. That it's really tricky. Ultimate mode is very touch and go frequently. The room for error can be non-existent sometimes. And I don't have a photographic memory, so just because I figured something out once doesn't mean that I would remember it precisely when I tried to live play it. I'm sure Soren would look at this and within like 4 or 5 hours he'd just have this perfectly mapped out on how to play this with no reloads. So I'll try to point out where I reloaded. It wasn't so bad. I can say this. I reloaded less than double digits. Probably more than 5, but less than 10. So, and some of those reloads were unnecessary. It was from a very stupid... Like, I put a unit on a stupid hex, because it was later in the scenario and I was getting tired. And you know how people make mistakes when that happens. Um, so some of those reloads are just completely. If I was paying attention, they would have been unnecessary. Um, so yeah, I put the scout car out. I did that on purpose. That's Bricada's plan, but he does it differently. I didn't remember precisely how he did it. I just remembered the idea. I did remember the fighter trap idea. Um, I thought the 7TP wouldn't come out turn 1, but I was wrong. And that was something I may have reloaded, so I only took 3 damage. So my second fighter comes in. Oh, I do something really cool here. I'm going to force a surrender on that tank. So, Goose, I have to admit, when you watch Goose play Africa Corps, I have learned a lot about surrendering. I think that Goose is basically the master of the surrender. So Goose does these crazy things to get surrenders, and this is exactly Goose-like. Just throw your artillery forward, move your scout around, surround the enemy, suppress and surrender. Right? I use the Goose rule a lot in Warsaw, and you can do it more easily with 2 scout cars. So I just want to throw that shout out. I would not, if you would, a year ago, if I was playing Panzer Corps, some of these crazy moves I would not have thought of, but they're pretty standard for me now. But they're only standard because I've been watching Goose play for hundreds of hours, and you start through osmosis, you start to see opportunities that you never would have thought of before. So that's just an example of a good surrender. I did find a better way to deploy over here, like a much better way, but in practice I don't know if it matters much. So I think there's lots of options on how to deploy. I made a mistake. I should never have put this mountain unit here. Actually, this wasn't a mistake. The mistake was I killed this unit. Which brought the tank out. Actually, maybe this was a good idea because the tank came out and attacked the mountain unit and not the pioneers. So as you can see, let me stop here. These pioneers, this pioneer wipes this unit out. We're on turn 2, okay? This pioneer helps take this unit out. So on turn 2, I have already opened a breach into Warsaw. That's pretty good. It's going to get wild. The next thing I do is I want to force a surrender on this unit. It's a lot harder than it looks. Oh, I saw my scout spotted the bomber, and then like a noob, I send my fighter to attack it. But, you know, that was stupid. These bombers are escorted by fighters, right? So I get an unexpected encounter, and I trash the plane. So I didn't have to reload or anything. I mean, look at this. I do 5 damage, and I take no damage. And I got ambushed. I used the auxiliary level bomber to help suppress this, because I want to force a surrender. So, turn 2, I'll point out, I've taken out 2 anti-aircraft guns. That's really good. Really, really good. Oh, 3... That happened so fast. I did something. Anyway, I'll try to freeze it. I'm sending my auxiliary tank to go grab some open hexes, but I have a diabolical plan associated with that. I wonder if Bricada is going to try that as well. Yeah, so the tankette came out and hit me. I got lucky though that it was a rugged defense. Then another tankette came out and hit my scout. Um, I knew the plane was over here, so I could kill it. Okay. Okay, so what am I doing? Some of you are wondering, what are you doing with this tank? Okay, I grabbed free 25 points here. I'm gonna go grab a free 25 points here. And then the idea is I want to park my tank here, but I'm never going to be allowed to. So I'm going to park my tank here. For whatever reason, the AI goes bonkers when you do this. So this is what helps make a decisive victory at Warsaw possible, is if you get too close to too many objectives, all hell breaks loose. So you'll see that. Already I want to bust this out because I've discovered by accident that if you take this out, this guy activates and comes out, and then the artillery moves up. This is a great combination. So I'll force a surrender on the tankette. This is turn 3, by the way. As much as I would love to claim my positioning was well planned out, a lot of this was accidental. So the level bomber happened to be above the tankette, that wasn't thought out. So my pioneers so they already kicked ass before, right? Now my pioneers are going to help take out this fortification. Look at that, 3 artillery, and I have a level bomber. That's the right kind of level bomber. So I'm going to be playing ping pong with this tankette. Now, this is an example where having a tactical bomber would be really helpful. But I didn't have one, so... And I have to kill it because I don't want this tankette running around causing chaos. So I'm shielding my artillery, and I'm blocking it from reinforcing. Oh, something I should mention, by taking this infantry out, Oladir sneaks in and delivers a huge blow on the artillery, which sets up destroying the artillery next turn. So I took 6 damage off of it. So this was good bait. This isn't something I had planned, but if I could pull fighters away from my units to auxiliary units, that's okay. And it's a tank. The tank is useless. So you can see I'm already pounding that spot. And I got to surrender. Look at that. So leave the hex open so the infantry comes out. So all of the counterattacks out of the city are done. I should mention here, I think an improvement. This is extremely dangerous. I had to reload here. This big artillery piece hit me, and then the cavalry hit me, and it was really bad. A much better idea is to simply pull Oladir out and then move the Pioneer in to finish this. Neither artillery piece can hit you, and I don't think in entrenchments these cavalry units want anything to do with the Pioneer. So that's a big improvement you could do. So that was my second reload, was on that. The other thing is, turn 4, I've already wiped out a big artillery piece. That's really good. And yes, I'm exploiting the fact that these guys aren't active yet. So you can see I am pounding the hell out of these fortifications. By denying them vision, it makes it safer for me. And I got it. I'd like to point out, turn 4, a fortification's been taken out. World record speed. So that was where I reloaded. I got hit pretty bad by this artillery, and then the cavalry attacked me. So you see this? The infantry came out. Well, that's great. It's not even that entrenched. Oh no, this is turn 4. This is the Allied turn. So I'm attacking with the scout there because I want to reduce the entrenchment. You can see I am literally trying to bully my way in. And this beautiful pioneer just clears the way. This is great. The artillery's forward. That helps. And I get another surrender. This is wild. I couldn't believe. I was getting excited at this point. I couldn't believe how quickly I was forcing surrenders. But the overstrengthened artillery was helping. I think that was key. I was really surprised the infantry attacked. I don't understand the rules because the other infantry and hexes didn't attack. Oh, actually, that's not true. This guy came out. Maybe it's because we're in close proximity? I don't know. Oh, I forced another surrender. So on turn 6, I'll point out, I've taken out 2 big artilleries, and I've taken out a fort, and I'm blowing through some of this wall of infantry that we're seeing on turn 6. Actually, I think I take out a second fort this turn. So I send my auxiliary unit to finish that off. So this entire side is about to rip open. I love this with the scout. You get in there, you hit it, you pull it back out. I'm so desperate, I'm attacking into artillery. Think about that. I got away with it, too. Look at this hit. Man, I did a massive amount of damage. Then Oladir helps, and then I send the mountain unit in. So on turn 6, I'll point out, on turn 6, I've taken out 2 fortifications, 2 artillery pieces, and I have one side that's on the verge of being ripped open. And this side has already been ripped open. And I'm already closing in on another victory hex on the southern part of the city. Turn 6. I want to take this guy out because I don't want him to hit me in the back. So I'm already working on turn 6 on a 3rd fortification. That's crazy. But it takes me a lot longer to take it out because I don't have pioneers down there. So I parked that tank there, and I figured out that in all likelihood that infantry is going to come out and hit me. So this 7 strength infantry, instead of reinforcing, it just goes back into the city. And that wiped it out. I got a good roll, and I was cruising at this point. So I'm really digging this unit out. And look at this slick move. I get a decent amount of prestige. The scout at 5 strength is still useful. So I think you could offer it as a sacrifice on turn 1 and be fine. And now I'm really beating the hell out of that artillery. So a 3rd artillery piece goes down. I will say I also reloaded here because this fort did a lot of damage. So an improvement I could have done was attack the fort with my scout. I would have done it if I had known the fort was going to attack. But I, for some reason, didn't think the fort was going to attack. So I had carefully orchestrated it so it was down to 1 ammo. But I should have used the scout to attack. So this was my 3rd reload right here. If I don't take too much damage, then I'm not attacked again. So this infantry came out of the city. Perfect. That 8 entrenchment is gone. So on turn 8, I'm already assaulting the city center. And obviously I have to take that objective out. As you can see, my 2 groups are about to smash right into the middle. And man, the Pioneers, 7 strength unit, 3 or 4 entrenchment, these guys ripped them apart. Like, one of the things I've always said, and I sometimes feel alone about this, Pioneers are my favorite unit, and with Deductor's Mod, Cavalry is my favorite unit. But Pioneers in the base game, I feel like are overpowered. I mean, they just like trash this unit that's got 3 or 4 entrenchment. It's just wild to me. So, because of the fact it's out of ammo, I'm constantly attacking this fort. This is nice. These auxiliary units are badass. I think they deserve MVP of the scenario. That's great. I want that artillery piece to be wasting its ammo. So I'm now trying to clear that infantry out. I know there's going to be a counterattack activated at some point, and I need to protect my units by eliminating as many of these garbage units as possible. So this is brilliant. I ran this guy out of ammo. So my auxiliary units have something to do now until the end of time. I got an unlucky roll here, but because of how lucky I was before, I was okay with it. So the last dangerous tank is gone. Essentially, on turn 9, my forces have linked up. Oh, one thing I'll mention, I think if I delay taking this hex, some of the chaos that happens later won't happen. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the trigger is for the chaos. And I forgot that the anti-aircraft could move south. That was on me. Oh, that was my 4th reload. I made sure I took like 4 or 5 points of damage here. But my 4th reload was limiting that to 1. Oh, speaking of which, clearly turn 9 was not me playing at my sharpest. For some stupid reason, I put my mountain unit without artillery protection in the city, and I think they got destroyed, so I had to reload for that. So I had like 5 that would be my 5th reload so far. That was both of those reloads on turn 9 were completely unnecessary. Don't park your fighter there. Don't move your mountain unit without artillery protection. So another unit bites the dust. That's helpful. My mistake was grabbing this hex. I would love to try this again without grabbing that hex. So like a tidal wave, wave after wave of artillery is pounding the enemy. And there's my pioneers kicking ass again. So I love this auxiliary tank. It's constantly pulling units out, and that de-entrenches them. It's great for me. I'm on turn 11, and I keep whittling away at that fort. So now I'm starting to enclose my units. I'm trying to build a fortification here. And I have the big gun at 1 ammo. That's good. And now my level bombers, right? Like, once those AA guns disappear, you just start having a field day. Look at this trap. A whole bunch of units are in trouble right now. Look at this ridiculous situation. So the first surrender is here. I had exactly enough suppression power to cause the most amount of damage here. Then I drained this of its last shot. This guy's down to 1 ammo too. So a lot of the firepower is disappearing for the enemy. I even had an artillery round for that. That's... I'm perfectly happy having the enemy waste its time attacking auxiliary units. What was unfortunate was they bought an anti-aircraft gun. So I force a surrender here. So now I made a mistake. I should have this guy can't actually resupply. All of my artillery should have been on this spot, and I had a Pioneer and Oladir ready to go, and I think I could have taken this out very easily, and then I could have focused on taking the tank out. So this is just me getting too excited and not thinking objectively. So I think it would have improved some things later. Because I don't need to take that artillery out. Like, it's better for me in this situation. It's better for me to leave these weakened artillery pieces here, pull my tank back so that these don't activate, and then they can't buy around here, and I have every other important hex blocked. So I think that was a mistake what I did. Even though, look at this, I took this unit out anyway. Crazy. Oh, I wasn't sure if they would activate, but in case this unit activated, he can't see this artillery. So he's going to take this hex and attack my scout car. So my auxiliary level bomber goes out, but that's okay. His job is done. See, if I had pulled this tank back, this infantry wouldn't have moved out. So all the infantry is moving out of the cities now. So 3 artilleries. So the 3 artillery did 9 damage of strength. So the enemy bought 2 more units. That was kind of annoying. So I'm building my cocoon because I know they're coming. By forcing a surrender here, the Pioneer can move up to block this hex, and Oladir is going to move up and block this hex. Move the scout car back, which helped force the surrender. This is beautiful. The other mistake I made, knowing that the enemy had activated, I should have pulled my 88 gun way further back. So I think I've only had 5 reloads here. Look at this, another surrender. I can't use my Air Force because there's these extra AA guns. I sense that I better pull my infantry back. Oh, now my other auxiliary bomber goes down. But it doesn't matter. I don't need it anymore. So I'm just going for it. I'm going to force a surrender on that. And then I did something. I forced a surrender here. This was unnecessary. This could have hurt me as well. So the scout comes in to seize the objective, and it's the auxiliary scout, so I don't care, and there's only 2 things that can attack it. And I have backing artillery. So on turn 14, I've seized all 6 major objectives. And then the shitstorm's coming for me. I should have pulled my 88 further back. That was a mistake. They attacked the scout but didn't get anywhere. And once again, the auxiliary units are cannon fodder. They're being sacrificed all over the place. There's only a 3 strength artillery left, a 4 strength infantry left, and a 7 strength scout. and all the other auxiliary units are destroyed. Uh, and there's more crap coming. This would have been very interesting to try to hold. I don't know what would have happened. But there it is. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Richard out.